In 1994, this 18-year-old girl from India stunned the entire world. She became the first Indian woman to ever win Miss Universe. But the moment the cameras turned off, Sushmita Sen walked into a life nobody could have predicted. She turned down what most women dream of. She chose what most couldn't understand. Today, at 50, she somehow looks half her age. So, what happened to her life after that crown? And how has she managed to stop time? Let's go back to May 21st, 1994, Manila, Philippines. 77 women from across the world standing on one stage, all competing for one crown. And nobody, not the judges, not the press, not even most of India, was watching the girl from Delhi because she wasn't supposed to win. The favorite that year? Her own compatriot, a stunning 20-year-old from Karnataka, who would go on to become one of the most recognized women on the planet. Her name was Aishwarya Rai, but something happened that night that India had never seen before. The judges called a different name, Sushmita Sen, age 18. According to reports, when her name was announced, she was in complete disbelief. She later said she didn't even fully understand what had just happened until the crown was already on her head. India's first ever Miss Universe. But here's what nobody was talking about. This girl had competed with limited English, almost no international experience, and zero backing from the powerful circles that usually produce these winners. She walked onto that stage as an underdog, she walked off as history, and that's when the real story begins. Most women in her position would have done the same thing. Take the fame, find a wealthy husband, settle into the life that was waiting for her. Sushmita didn't do any of that. She went back to India and built a film career on her own terms. She starred in hit Bollywood films throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. She became one of the most recognized faces in the country. But while cameras were tracking her every move on screen, something was happening off-screen that nobody expected. She was making a decision that would define the rest of her life, and she was only 24 years old. The year was 2000. Sushmita Sen walked into a courtroom, not for a scandal, not for a lawsuit, but to fight for the right to become a mother. She wanted to adopt a baby girl. The problem? She was single, unmarried, and India's adoption laws at the time now were not built for women like her. According to reports, the legal battle was intense. Officials questioned her ability to raise a child alone. The system pushed back, hard. But then, her father spoke. In court, he reportedly told the judge directly, "I did not raise my daughter to be somebody's wife." That statement changed everything. The court approved the adoption. Sushmita named her daughter Renee. She later said, "The wisest decision I ever made at 24 was to become a mother." Could you have fought that battle alone at 24? Most of us couldn't. But she did, and she didn't stop there. 10 years later, in 2010, she went back. This time, she adopted a second daughter, Alisa. And again, she did it alone. No husband, no partner, just her. She raised both girls in the public eye, and what viewers noticed over the years was hard to ignore. Renee and Alisa grew up confident, well-spoken, and deeply connected to their mother. Renee even wrote a public essay about being adopted. She said being chosen by Sushmita was the greatest gift of her life. The audience online went quiet for that one, because it wasn't just a celebrity doing something good. It was proof that the family Sushmita built from scratch, against the courts, against tradition, against the expectations of an entire country, actually worked. But here's what was happening behind the scenes during all of this that most people never heard about. In 2014, Sushmita was diagnosed with Addison's disease. It's a rare disorder where the adrenal glands stop producing the hormones the body needs to function. It can cause extreme fatigue, weight loss, and in serious cases, life-threatening complications. She had to undergo long-term steroid treatment. For years, she managed it quietly, while continuing to appear in public. Most of her fans had no idea. And then, in 2023, things got worse. She had a heart attack, not a mild episode, a major cardiac event that required emergency medical care. She later spoke about it publicly and said it felt like her second birth. She said she genuinely did not know if she was going to make it through. Think about that for a second. This woman had won the world's most prestigious beauty title at 18. She had fought the legal system to become a mother. She had raised 2 daughters alone. She had built a career that lasted decades, and she was now fighting for her life. Behind the beauty was a woman who had been quietly battling her own body for years. But what she did next? Nobody saw it coming. Most people assume that when a celebrity goes through something like that, a major illness, a heart attack, years away from the spotlight, the career is over. That chapter closes. Sushmita didn't let that happen. In 2020, she came back, not to Bollywood, not to red carpets, but to a streaming show called Arya. She played a woman thrust into a criminal world after her husband is murdered, forced to protect her children at all costs. The role was nothing like the beauty queen the world remembered. And that was exactly the point. The show became one of the biggest OTT hits in India. Critics called her performance one of the best of her career. She won awards. She got a second season, then a third. A whole new generation discovered Sushmita Sen, not as a Miss Universe winner, but as one of the most compelling actresses on screen. She didn't fade, she evolved. Today, she is 50 years old and she looks 25. So how? People expected a secret, a routine, some treatment only celebrities can afford. The real answer is simpler and harder. After Addison's disease nearly broke her body, and after the heart attack almost ended everything, Sushmita stopped treating her health as something she could ignore. She rebuilt from scratch. Strict fitness, real rest, watching what she put into her body. Not as vanity, as survival. But that's only half of it. The other half is something no doctor can prescribe. She never spent 32 years living a life she didn't choose. She never woke up next to the wrong person because society expected it. She never became someone smaller, just to fit in. Doctors will tell you that chronic stress ages the body faster than almost anything else. And the biggest source of chronic stress for most people? Living a life that isn't theirs. Sushmita never did that, not once. So when you see her today, on a red carpet, in an interview, on screen in Arya, you're not looking at good genes or good lighting. You're looking at what 32 years of real freedom actually does to a person. That's how she stopped time. She gave up the expected life and got everything else in return. So I want to ask you, do you think that trade was worth it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to channel for more. As always, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.